Hello and welcome to today's session. We'll discuss how to win with local service ads, commonly referred to as Google Guaranteed. It wasn't available to the auto repair industry for some time. They did a soft rollout in California and Florida, but it's pretty much available in all markets now. Anyone here running LSA ads? Did you do the background check? Have you already set up your account? Okay, got a few people. I'll talk a little bit about why you should participate in LSA and how it should fit into your overall internet marketing strategy. For those of you running ads, I'll discuss the 1% changes, adjustments, and modifications you can make to get better results, more leads, and more sales. To really accelerate, it boils down to three things. We've got to drive leads and maximize conversion to optimize our return on investment on the leads that we're bringing in. There are a lot of different things, but they basically fall into the buckets of organic, paid, and database. Organic is coming up in the non-paid listings. Paid ads appear in local service ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, etc. Then there's database. This is used to remarket to existing customers and prospects, encouraging them to use your services again and to refer others to you. So to maximize conversions, we need to ensure that our website is optimized for this purpose. Automation is key to accelerating your growth in today's market. It's essential to go beyond lead generation and follow-up. This means utilizing automation across phone calls, text messages, SMS, and email to ensure rapid lead response and maintain multiple touch points with all of your potential customers. Effective communication also requires adapting to the preferred communication methods of your potential customers. Today's customers would prefer to engage with you via text message. If they have the option, they'd prefer to book directly on your website than to call in and wait in a queue and talk to somebody. Also, using automation gives you a great competitive advantage to convert more of your leads at a higher level. Ultimately, you want to optimize your results. So how much should you invest to grow? If the goal is to, let's say, add an additional $500,000 over the next 12 months, what do we need to invest to achieve that goal? This is called our digital dominance method, and it looks at the big picture of all the things that you might want to do to maximize your lead flow online in a big way. You need a good website that's built to convert. You need to make sure that you're coming up in the organic free listings as strong as possible. And then paid online directories, pay-per-click, and retargeting can all be leveraged to help your business become the most well-known repair shop in your area. Implementing this digital dominance method will lead to a high return on investment and increase your leads. So here's what we're going to cover. What are LSA ads? Where they're active? How do they work? How does Google charge for leads? What do you need to do to get started? Now, let me introduce myself real quick. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Paul Donahue. I'm the founder and CEO of Advanced Digital Automotive Group, and I've been in the digital marketing world since 2009. I'm the author of 2 books, The Ultimate SEO Guide for Automotive Service Businesses, How to Triple Your Sales in Record Time, and my first book was Triple Your Sales and Grow Your Business, The Ultimate Internet Marketing Guide to Grow Your Business Online. Our podcast, Top Shop Podcast, interviews industry leaders and auto repair shop owners who have been in business for at least 10 years. Now, we focus on experienced shop owners to offer unique insights to our listeners. Research shows that 80% of shops fail within the first 5 years, and another 80% of those shops fail within the next second 5 years. So an auto repair shop owner that's been in the business over 10 years has proven to us that they are successful by standing the test of time. And their insights can be extremely beneficial to other repair shop owners. So we're also the issuer of the Golden Wrench Award, which recognizes people who have contributed greatly to the automotive industry. Many individuals have dedicated their lives to this industry, and they've contributed significantly. And therefore, we provide the Golden Wrench Award to select individuals who meet our criteria and can make it through our selection process. I encourage you to visit goldenwrenchaward.com and nominate someone that you know who has made significant contributions to the automotive industry to receive this prestigious award. I'll share the link in the chat right now. A lot of times people really work hard in their careers. They're authors, they're executive directors or presidents of associations or trade groups, And they really appreciate the acknowledgement of their contributions. And this is a great way for us to contribute back to the automotive community. So welcome everyone. Let's get started. Before we begin, I want to emphasize that this will be a highly interactive session. So please turn off your cell phones and close your Facebook. Your full attention will ensure you get the most out of this workshop on how to improve your website's results. My goal is to keep this presentation between 30 and 45 minutes. So I'll share some very specific actionable insights to help you boost your website's conversion rates. If you're ready, let me know, and put a quick one in the chat. Okay, looks like everyone's ready. Yep, got lots of ones. All right. So local service refers to the Google guaranteed results that appear at the top of the search results when you search for something like auto repair near me or auto repair in a specific city. Although it's relatively new for auto repair, it's easily applicable to other services. For example, if you search for a plumber in any city or a plumber near me, you'll see the local service ads, the LSAs, at the very, very top. It's also referred to as Google Guaranteed. Google has put a tracking number on these results and tracking the phone calls. You're only going to pay when somebody picks up the phone and calls you. It's pay per lead, not pay per click. They've recently re-added the opportunity to fill in a form, and you actually pay a little bit less for a form submission than you do a phone call. However, we found that your results come from tracked phone calls directly through Google Guaranteed. Google puts its stamp of approval on your shop because it's going to do some background checks. They will verify your legitimacy and they'll guarantee your shop. This means that if you make a mistake or fail to deliver or upset a client, they're going to cover the cost of the service. Therefore, it's crucial for them to promote highly qualified shops with strong reputations, as their name is on the line representing your business. This helps Google ensure that only the best Google Guaranteed companies are displayed at the top of their search results. Google Local Services allows customers to view your phone number and learn more about your shop. They can also see pictures and read reviews. This information is accessible through the dashboard, which we will explore later. So why does Google Guaranteed even warrant the attention we're going to give it? Well, what we found based on recent statistics, 87% of consumers use Google when they're looking for auto repair shop services. It's the number one place they look, and we want to be capitalized on that particular opportunity. Very few shops know about this, and the ones that take advantage of it early on will be the ones that receive the biggest rewards, before everybody else figures it out and gets on board like they did with PPC. So we have to have a plan to win. At this point, it's active in all markets, but really, like I said, few shops know about it. If achieving top ranking in Google or local service ads was as simple as just paying $30 per lead, everybody would be in the top position, but it's not that easy. There's more that goes into it. And so kudos to you for being here to learn what the nuances are to make sure that you give yourself a fighting chance to be in that particular rotation. So I'll talk about the rotation later and why it's so important. The search results have changed again. Previously, when we ran a search, we might have seen some ads, but then Google Maps and organic results would appear. However, with the introduction of local service ads, the organic results and map results have been shifted. What we found is you're still going to get a healthy amount of calls and traffic from the map pack. And I'm a big believer, we want to drive traffic organically and paid. Don't think that the only thing that you have to do is local service ads. The majority of high quality leads are still generated from map and organic search results. So the first step is to complete the local service ads application process. A background check is required for you and your employees. However, we've discovered that it's sufficient to only run the check on yourself as the owner, rather than on every individual technician. This significantly reduces the amount of time it takes to get on local service ads, and Google has not raised any objections. So if you have 5 technicians, don't feel obligated to get background checks for all of them. We used to think that was mandatory, that everyone had to be background checked, but it turns out that usually just getting you and your partner checked out is enough. They'll also check your licenses and your other credentials. They just want to make sure everything is legitimate before you're approved. And this is usually taking a week to 4 weeks, depending on whether you've submitted all the documents and how busy they are in the background checking process. But once you're approved, you're going to pay on a pay per lead basis, not pay per click like PPC. That's it. You set a budget, and every time a call comes in, you pay for that link, and that is the basics of how it works. So I'm going to show you how it works. That's the basics on how it works. Once you get in, you're going to go through that setup process, and then you really got to pay attention to the details. Having an organization like ours that helps you with these nuances can really make a big difference. So we know all the details. So for auto repair shops, the cost per lead can vary significantly based on factors such as geographic location, competition, and the specific services that you're offering. Reports indicate that some auto repair shops have secured leads for as low as $7 per call. However, in competitive markets, businesses have experienced costs from anywhere from $40 to $100 a lead over a several month period. Therefore, auto repair shops need to closely monitor their LSA campaigns and adjust their strategies accordingly to ensure the best possible results in terms of both lead quality and cost. So let's use an example of $2,000 per month, $500 a week, which breaks down to $71 a day. If the average cost per lead is $35, that equates to around 2 leads per day or 20 leads over 2 weeks. It's crucial to understand that once your daily budget is depleted, you're removed from the rotation for that day. So you want to be thinking about, do we have enough budget so that we can remain in the rotation, so that we can get the lead flow that we want? I want to suggest that all things being equal, your average cost per lead is going to be less on local service ads than it would be through Google Ads. And so if you've got a large amount of budget allocated to Google Ads, it might be in your best interest to say, let's prioritize the local service ads because our cost per lead is going to be lower. The quality is going to be similar or better, maybe potentially a lot better, because it shows you through the Google local service ads process. To avoid missing opportunities, we often suggest increasing your budget. This will allow you to challenge any invalid leads. With local service ads, we can specify the areas that we serve and the services we provide. If the lead is a solicitation or outside the service area, we can dispute it and remove it from our budget. The funds will then be used to acquire another lead. A certain percentage of calls will invariably come from outside the designated area. So therefore, someone from your team or an organization like ours should monitor those calls to identify unqualified leads and take action and dispute them. Google guaranteed leads are a higher quality lead. They're legitimate. And really, when they're calling you, they may potentially go back and call a couple of other shops. But that lead's going to you directly. And they choose you because of your profile, because you came in the local service ads, because your reviews ideally are great. The ROI is great, assuming that you've got a good person on the other side that's answering the call that knows how to convert the jobs at a relatively high level. So here's why I think this is a no-brainer. If you run an auto repair shop, you're going to show up at the top of the results where your clients are looking. You're only going to pay on a per lead basis. So this isn't like you're putting some budget out there and hoping for a return. You only pay for the qualified leads who have actively searched your market and contacted your shop. This approach is more cost effective than pay-per-click advertising and generates higher quality leads. The benefit of this is that it allows us to easily pause or reduce the budget and then increase it again whenever the schedule starts, to look a little light. Let's say 3 to 5 days out. Alternatively, you can set this up yourself by going directly to adwords.google.com local services. I'll put the link here in the chat. This will guide you through a self-setup process that requests information about your shop. Then you'll have to initiate that background check process. So let's talk about how the ranking works, because this is really like getting into the more advanced part. So let's talk about how the ranking works, because this is really like getting into the more advanced part. How do I make sure that I'm in the three? You always want to be in that top three rotation. There's probably not a lot of competition in your market right now, but that will change. Number one is your proximity to the actual customer's location. So where your shop is and where that customer is standing is very important. Google's trying to match the closest shop that is a Google guaranteed shop. I know in a lot of cases this isn't relevant, but that's the way the algorithm works. And so sometimes it makes sense to look at your geographic area where your actual shop is. If we want to set up another location, it needs to be a legitimate commercial location that Google can verify. Now, number two is your review score and the number of reviews that you have, both on your Google business profile, which is probably the most important, and then secondly, the reviews you have within the Google Local Service Ads dashboard. Google has all the data about the job, the phone number, and the caller. Since they verified that the call came through Local Service Ads and you answered and marked it as a booked job, you can request a review. Google will push it through the platform. I believe those reviews get brownie points, but your Google Business Profile reviews also play a big factor. So the reviews are mission critical. We know reviews are important for ranking on Google Maps. We know that they're huge for conversion from whether someone's going to call you versus a competitor. It turns out they also play a big role in how confident Google is that you are the shop that they want to put in the customer's face. Number three is your Google guaranteed responsiveness to customer inquiries. This is super important. Some auto repair companies don't realize this, and they're not paying close attention to it. Now, number three is your Google guaranteed responsiveness to customer inquiries. This is super important. Some auto repair companies don't realize this, and they're not paying close attention to it. So they've set themselves up on a local service ad. They've got leads coming in, and it's either going to the shop line or it's going to a voicemail or an after-hours service. If you're not answering the calls with a live answer, most of the time Google is tracking that, and they see what your responsiveness is. The other aspect of this is after the call ends, it sits in the local service ads platform. This customer at this phone number called in. Here's the recording of the call. There's a queue where Google is waiting for you to mark the outcome. Did you book the job? Did you provide an estimate? And it's really important that your team is listening to those phone calls and ensuring your response is high, as you're going to be passing that feedback loop back to Google, because the shops that do that have the budget, that are actually answering the calls, that are giving Google the information to say what happened on the other side, look like the most qualified shops. And of course, it would be in Google's best interest to continue to push leads to those particular shops. So be sure that you're paying attention to the responsiveness of the leads that you get. Your business hours can also affect your ranking. For instance, if you're only available 9 to 4 Eastern Standard, that will be a factor in your ranking. Let's assume that your ad campaign runs 9 to 4 p.m. This time frame allows you to control when your ads are shown. If someone searches at 5:15 or 6 p.m., your ad won't appear because you've limited your campaign to those specified hours of 9 to 4. Remember that while some of you have different campaign schedules, using 9 to 4 as an example, what I would suggest is obviously don't have your schedule open if you don't have somebody that can answer the phone. But I would suggest that you've got a mechanism to ensure that all those leads can be answered any time of the day. Keep in mind, many customers get home between 4 and 7 p.m. and they look for solutions to their problems then. If you can be available during those hours, and I know you guys work a lot of hours as it is now, you're going to have a better chance of getting those leads and more opportunities. Strategically, set up your shop hours to ensure someone is available to answer inquiries. If you don't, your responsiveness will suffer and you'll waste money on leads that don't convert. The other thing is going to impact your ranking is if you've received complaints about your business. The customer feedback process includes a survey from Google about the service. If the customer feels that their issue wasn't resolved, their car was damaged, they were overcharged, they had a negative experience, they can contact Google to leave a complaint or take advantage of the service guarantee. So I think that goes without saying that it's going to negatively impact your ability to rank. Now, let's get into the specifics of how to succeed through local service ads. I'm going to take you through this process step by step, but first we need to fine-tune your profile. There is an actual profile that you set up after your background checks are done, where you set your service area, you set your budget, and you set the types of services that you provide. Number 2 is we got to mark your jobs. We have to close that loop on what's happened after the job is done. We have to deal with our disputes. In order to achieve an 85% booking ratio, we need to prioritize obtaining verified reviews. I'll demonstrate how to monitor this ratio within the reporting tools so you can track your progress. Surprisingly, most shops are unaware of the app and its valuable insights, and they fail to assign anyone to manage it. And they wonder why they're not staying in the rotation. They wonder why they're not getting any leads for local services because they're not playing the game the way that Google wants you to play. So let's get into the specifics. Step number 1 is we want to dial in that profile. So after you go through the little hoops of submitting your background check, Google has a dashboard that you can log into with all kinds of data that you can enter, like a description of your company and photos of your technicians. You want to load those photos up. You want to make sure your description sells. Why somebody should choose you versus your competition. You want to make sure that you've chosen the right categories. You want to be sure that you've set the right schedule within the platform. And so set the budget open if you have the capacity. Rather than contacting people from 7 to 4 when most people are already doing so, consider reaching out between 4 and 7 p.m. This strategy opens up a whole new window of opportunity to connect with potential customers who are searching and making calls during their off hours. By scheduling for the next day during this time, you may be able to reach people who would otherwise be unavailable during typical business hours. So just thinking about that, updating the ad schedule, setting up your business bio. So think about adjusting your ad schedule. Setting up your business bio, you want to think about this from 2 perspectives. Number 1, you want to use keywords and then talk about the services that you want to sell more than anything else. You want that to be written in terms of your customers' needs. Craft a compelling sales message that highlights the benefits of choosing your shop over your competitors. Clearly articulate the specific problem that you solve and how your services provide the solution. Go beyond a simple statement like "we do auto repair in your city." Instead, create a detailed and persuasive description similar to what you would feature on your homepage, and then utilize the maximum character count allowed by Google. Pick the very specific services that you offer. Spend the time to make sure that you choose the right ones, okay? And then set up your service area. There is a choice to choose a grid, GeoGrid, based on cities or zip codes. The best approach is to select either the cities that you operate in or the specific zip codes that you're targeting. Don't send mixed signals to Google by selecting both cities and zip codes. Choose one or the other. This will only cause confusion. So ultimately, the decision depends on your specific market. If you don't have the area selected, Google is not going to have you in the rotation. Then you want to add photos. Google gives you the option to add photos and pictures of your team, pictures of your shop, pictures of your facade. 2 gotchas on the photos. Authenticity is key when choosing profile pictures for your business. People want to connect with real people. So be sure to use genuine images of yourself, your team, your technicians, your dog, your kids, whatever. This will build trust and encourage potential customers to do business with you. Another important thing to remember is that you cannot have any phone numbers on your listing images. For example, if you have a picture of your office and there's a big phone number on a billboard in the image behind you, it's going to get flagged and the image is going to get removed. and your listing, you can get your listing flagged also. So just pay attention to not using any phone numbers in your images. Of course, the main reason for that is that Google's trying to make sure that you pay for every single phone call. And if there's any way to bypass the platform, they're not going to allow that. There are lots of little details. That's why it makes sense to have somebody who knows the details and can help make sure that it's either set up correctly and or optimized fully. Be sure to analyze your sales calls. You can identify missed opportunities, and you can find areas for improvement. Not only will this positively impact your conversion rate, but it'll also enhance the customer experience. This will encourage Google to send more calls your way, leading to increased business growth. If you can't do it yourself or you're missing the calls, hire a company like ours to do it for you. It's crucial to track the results to see if they become qualified leads. This closed loop reporting gives Google increased confidence in your business. Therefore, it's important to mark those jobs as booked. Google will rank you based on your responsiveness. It is crucial to include the email to prompt a review request, as this is a key factor in Google's algorithm. Subsequently, you should archive any opportunities that do not result in a conversion. You're never going to have a 100% conversion ratio from a lead to a book job. We already know that. So we don't want to have an open loop pile up of all these unconverted opportunities. It'll be marked as booked, or it should eventually be marked as not converted. And of course, we also want to dispute the unqualified leads. The third issue to address is dispute resolution. Typically, we see a dispute ratio of at least 10% for generated leads. So you can plan on, 1 in 10, it's going to be a dispute. These disputes arise for various reasons. The lead may have been located outside the designated area. They may have not met qualification criteria, or they may have been a solicitor who called your provided number. If you don't pay attention to disputes, you'll miss out on many refund opportunities. You pay for a call that will never convert. So you or a team member should look up the lead, click the dispute button, and briefly describe the issue. And for the most part, Google doesn't dispute it. They're like, yeah, okay, that wasn't a good lead, fine. You're not going to be charged for those disputes or for a local service that you don't provide. Okay, so number 4, and in order to really improve your profitability of remaining relevant in local service ads, is we're going to drive verified reviews. So there are 2 types of reviews. There are reviews, somebody goes to your Google profile and or your Google map listing and they write a review. An LSA verified review is different. What that means is they called in through the local service, got pinned to your dashboard, and then you went in and requested a review through the platform. The number of reviews is a major driver of ranking in LSA. As always, leverage the dashboard to drive verified reviews. I strongly support automating the review request process after every service call, but this is a slightly different approach. We want to push this specific type of review through the LSA dashboard. And while Google doesn't explicitly state this anywhere, I believe it carries more weight in terms of local service ads. Logically, it would make sense that this type of review would be given more weight. After you have obtained the customer's phone number, you can request that they leave a review. Then you'll enter their email address, name, job type, and the service location before sending the request. By simply sending the review request in this manner, you indicate to Google that you are attentive and you are actively trying to deliver quality services. Additionally, it demonstrates that you are following up with the customers that they've sent you. When the customer posts a review, it'll be displayed as a Google verified job for a specific service. And that's going to show up in your local service ads dashboard. And so again, a little bit of nuance here. It helps to have an organization that understands the steps, understands how these things work together. And so again, you need to be Johnny on the spot, so you want to close the loop, get those reviews. You're going to pass, by doing this, you pass what we call a feedback loop to Google, which will improve the probability that they're going to send more leads your way. Okay, so number 5, we want to target an 85% booking rate. So inside the dashboard in Google Business Profile, inside local service ads, there's an area called reports. Within reports, assuming that you're getting leads and making the outcomes, there will be a little area at the top that shows your conversion rate and your booking rate. So there will be a little area at the top that shows your conversion rate and your booking rate. So I mean, 85% would be amazing. That's a good benchmark, but at least 50% ideally, shooting for at least 50% qualified leads that weren't disputed is enough to pass a really healthy feedback loop to Google. We want to understand how the reporting works and then how effectively you can convert calls into clients. That's going to impact your rating over time. We're shooting for 85%, and remember, what you measure gets done. Someone should be looking at this at least once a week. How many leads do we get? How many review requests were sent out? How many were responded to? How many of these do we mark as completed? And what's the booking ratio? If it's low, why? There could be a variety of reasons, but we want to pay attention and solve the problem. Not just because it's going to improve Google, but it's also going to make us more money. We prove conversion, which is going to improve the number of booked jobs and the amount of revenue that we get for every dollar that we spend. And so within reporting, we can see the number of leads that we got charged for and how much we invested. So the other question I want to discuss a bit is how to increase your lead flow. Sometimes we kind of hit a wall. It's like, okay, you know what? The current marketing budget is $1,000 a week, which equates to $4,000 a month. While we're generating leads, we could increase the budget to generate a higher volume of leads. However, it's important to consider whether the current budget is sufficient to handle the potential influx of leads before increasing it. Assuming you have the technical capacity to manage the increased workload and are seeing a return on your investment, consider expanding your service area to reach a little wider audience within your operational region. For example, you could increase your service area from 7 to 10 zip codes or 15 zip codes. There are several ways to increase the area where your business is visible to customers. For example, you could increase the number or types of jobs selected. You could also expand the displayed schedule. Instead of showing availability from 9 to 5, you do 8 to 6. And expand the schedule when you're available to answer the phone and be in the rotation. And the other thing that I would suggest when it comes to expanding the service area, sometimes we know we could serve a much wider area, but Google isn't going to give us those leads because it's outside of the proximity. I feel I've given you a couple of things that you can go back and execute to win with local service ads. If you want help with this, would love the opportunity to help. Ideally, you've got some great insights from this workshop. I feel that you've got some great information that you can go ahead and implement. But if you'd like help, we have two options. Number one is we could become your full service agency and really take a look at the entire digital dominance strategy from your website, your SEO, your pay-per-click, social media, and how you're investing and how you're tracking your return on investment and how you're following up with leads and handling that. We spend a little time in advance and take a look at your shop. Take a look at your market, take a look at your competitors. So if that's of interest to you, go ahead and I think it's autorepair.seo.com/discovery, or just go to the website, autorepair.seo.com, and click on the discovery call right there at the top. So thanks everyone for joining today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking the time and look forward to seeing you guys again.